Welcome, please.
Dear Toastmaster friends, many of you know that while preparing today's speech, I spent some time researching the feelings of our club members towards the classical music. The sad but expected news is that 70% of you answered that they seldom or never listen to classical music. And another important point is that more than half mentioned the opera as the most difficult for comprehension genre. And that's the point I'm going to argue today. First of all, let me tell you that I was lucky to have, well, quite nice music education. I played in different orchestras on different instruments, participated in concerts, and fortunately not become a professional musician. But even all these things in mind, for a long time I also was intimidated by opera. I thought it was difficult. And just recently, just some couple years ago, I've completely changed my mind about the opera. And today I'm going to do the same for you. I will try to convince you that the opera is really easy thing to listen and easy thing to enjoy. The opera, as a genre, is just covered with a thick layer of myths. The most famous one is that the opera is the place where the fat lady with horns and shield and spear is singing, or should I say shrieking, for 4 days in a row. There is even the phrase, it's not over till the fat lady sings. And it means you never know what will happen at the end and when the end will be. There is another opinion, which is the opera is the place and the time when the guy got stabbed with a knife, and instead of bleeding he sings. Most usually he sits in foreign, so nobody can understand him, and even if you can understand him, it goes like, oh, I'm dying, that's what I'm doing. So, well, it's hard to argue with such a powerful opinions, but let me tell you, it's not entirely true. So, not all opera divas weigh more than 200 kilos, and not all operas take longer than 15 hours, and not even in all operas somebody got killed at the end. And the most important, you don't have to spend a lifetime studying how to enjoy the opera. It's really easy to do. So why most people think that opera is hard to enjoy? To answer that question, we need to know why people enjoy music at all. And it's quite obvious that because of emotion, the music calls for. And if we take some monotonous sound, well, it will cause nothing but irritation and sleepiness, right? So to be enjoyable, the melody has some development. The famous, one of the best opera composers, Richard Wagner, once went to the performance of Brahms' symphony. But he left after only 15 minutes. And when he was asked why he left, he answered, it's so bloody boring, nothing happens. And he didn't mean nothing happens on the stage, like it happens in the opera. He meant nothing happens in the music. The good music should develop, should project some feelings, some images, should involve the listener to the action. And it's much easier to be involved in the opera action than to action which held in some instrumental composition. Because the opera has a plot line, has some action. The characters are not just singing, they're playing, they're living, they're falling in love, and yes, sometimes dying. So while the action takes the listeners away, the music helps him to understand the emotions, the internal feelings of the characters. Well, that's a theory, but most people would say that the opera is boring, is kind of irritating, and maybe even has no sense at all. So what you should do to really feel what I meant, to really feel how you feel the emotions of opera characters. First of all, the most important thing, you have to take the proper opera. While there are literally hundreds of operas, only small percent of them really worth listening to. And that's another really unique characteristic of the opera. You cannot call yourself, you cannot say that you know pictorial arts if you've seen only pictures of 5 artists, can you? But to say that you are accomplished opera lover, you just need to know 5 names. Like Verdi, Puccini, Tchaikovsky, Wagner, and Bizet. That's enough. Okay, there are others, and sometimes you can dig and find something decent, but if you take the opera of one of those, you're definitely not going to be disappointed. Just remember the second important thing, and that is you cannot listen to the opera as a background while you're eating, talking, walking, well, sleeping. So you have to go to opera theater, or at least if you're watching some video, you have to draw all your attention to the play. And third, the most important thing, you have to understand every single word. If you don't understand every single word, you just listen in symphonic music with some voice added. It's not opera, it could be nice, but it's completely different thing. So, if you do not speak Italian and German, when 80% of all operas are lingua franca for you. So you have to use subtitles. Fortunately, in all modern opera theaters, there are some subtitles projected above the stage, and on the computer it's even easy to do. So if you first chosen the right opera, draw all your attention to the play, and understand every single word, in that case, all the pieces of puzzle starts fitting together. So the music, the words, the play, the feelings, the emotions all come together in one harmonic masterpiece. So I just can feel that some of you think, okay, that's nice, but what did it have to do with me? I prefer listening some rock or some jazz or some trance anyway. Well, think again. If you never listened to opera before, or if you tried but not enjoyed it, maybe you haven't done it the right way. Remember that lady. It's not over until that lady sings. In that case, it means if you didn't try it in the right way and didn't like it. You never know if you like it, if you tried it rightly. So I did my best to tell you how to do it rightly. So please, do me a favor, get it a try. And hopefully, I'll see you someday in the next seat of opera theater. Mein Name ist Master.